What if the reason your reality never changes isn't because you're doing something wrong, but because something inside you is working perfectly, just not in your favor? What if the life you're living right now is the safest, most familiar prison your mind ever built? And the scariest part is that you don't even see the bars. Your brain isn't built for happiness. It's built for predictability. It tries to keep you safe by keeping you the same. If yesterday you felt anxious, your mind will recreate anxiety today. If yesterday you felt lonely or stuck, your brain will repeat that too. Not because it wants you to suffer, but because it knows you survived it. This is the hidden block. Your brain protects your current reality, even if you hate it. Anything new, success, peace, love, feels unsafe. That's why when you visualize a better future, your conscious mind gets inspired, but your subconscious gets alarmed. It treats your dream as a threat. Your subconscious will sabotage anything that disrupts your familiar emotional pattern. That's why you feel pulled back into old habits, old fears, old versions of yourself. It's not laziness. It's a survival mechanism. Your body remembers yesterday more strongly than it imagines tomorrow. Trauma isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's just repetition. Repeated anxiety becomes identity. Repeated disappointment becomes worldview. Repeated stress becomes your nervous system's default. Your body starts predicting the same emotional outcome every day, even when you want something different. This is why people recreate chaos when they grew up in chaos. Why they push away love when they're not used to receiving it. Why they resist success if success feels unfamiliar. You're not broken. You're conditioned. Your past emotional patterns are still running your present life. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The reality you see is shaped by the parts of you that you ignore or push away. Your shadow isn't darkness, it's the version of you that learned to survive the past. But when you avoid your shadow, you repeat the same emotional loops. Old wounds choose your partners. Old fears choose your opportunities. Old beliefs shape your reactions. Your reality doesn't change because the part of you creating it is still living in yesterday. Reality isn't something happening to you. It's something happening through you. Two people can enter the same room, one sees opportunity, the other sees threat. The room is the same. The internal world is different. You don't experience reality itself, you experience your interpretation of it. If your inner world stays the same, your outer world cannot transform. And here is the core hidden block: your subconscious believes your past more than your future. If your old pain feels more real than your future vision, your past will win every time. Change doesn't fail because you don't want it. Change fails because your past feels more believable than your dream. Your mind always chooses what it believes is real. And right now, your past feels more real than your possibility. To shift your reality, one thing must happen: your future must feel safer than your past. Not more inspiring, not more beautiful, safer. When your nervous system believes that evolution is safer than repetition, your world begins to change effortlessly. That's why transformations often feel sudden. You work on yourself for years, and then in one moment, everything shifts. The mind doesn't change gradually. It changes when the balance of safety flips, from protecting the old to welcoming the new. So ask yourself, which part of your life is still stuck in yesterday? Your relationships? Your confidence? Your emotional state? Naming the pattern is the first step to breaking it. Awareness is the door. Courage is the key. Your reality doesn't change because your identity hasn't been updated. But the moment you stop treating your past as your compass, and start letting your future become your reference point, everything shifts. A new life begins when you stop returning to an old one. You deserve a life that expands you, not repeats you. A life chosen consciously, not inherited from old wounds. The moment you decide that your past is no longer your home, you create the space for a new reality to arrive. If you want to continue exploring how to rewire your inner world, and how your mind shapes the reality you see every day, make sure to join my newsletter. That's where I share the deeper insights that don't fit into social media. Now let's get practical. First, slow the system. When your nervous system is frantic, it interprets novelty as danger. Practice micropauses, 3 slow breaths, noticing the body. Each micropause tells the brain, I am safe here. Safety is the first currency of change. Second, reduce contradiction. If you visualize abundance but speak scarcity to yourself, the subconscious will follow the louder script, habit and feeling. Align language, ritual, and sensation. Make your inner messaging consistent with the future you want. Third, small exposures. Don't ask your nervous system to take a leap it can't accept. Introduce microdoses of the new life, a short conversation you'd avoid, a small public risk, a tiny act of receiving. Each safe exposure slowly shifts the baseline. Fourth, ritualize the future. Rituals teach the nervous system what is normal. Create simple, repeatable rituals that embody the person you want to become, morning practices, a daily 2-minute posture of gratitude, a weekly courageous act. Rituals are rehearsal for reality. Fifth, meet your shadow with curiosity. When a part of you resists, don't attack it, listen. Ask, what does this fear believe? What did it need to protect me from? Naming the protective intent diffuses shame and opens negotiation with the inner guard. Sixth, anchor your future with sensation. Visualization alone can be too cognitive. Add body-based signals, the posture of confidence, the taste of health, the felt sense of acceptance. When the body rehearses a new feeling, the subconscious remembers it as real. Seventh, reframe failure as data. Your nervous system fears catastrophic failure. Teach it that setbacks are information, not annihilation. Small experiments, not final verdicts, this lowers the threat and increases the probability of risk-taking. Eighth, social proof matters. The people around you calibrate your nervous system's sense of what's possible. Surround yourself with micro-models of the future you want, books, conversations, communities, so your mind has examples it can trust. Ninth, timeline integration. Bring the past into a new story, one that credits survival but reassigns identity. Instead of, I'm broken, tell, I adapted then. Now I can adapt differently. This redirect moves meaning from being stuck to being resilient. 10th, incremental identity statements. Small, believable identity shifts are more potent than giant claims. Say, I'm someone who keeps promises to themselves. Not, I'm wealthy. The smaller statement is more likely to be embodied and therefore rewires habit. 11th, ritual of receiving. If you've been conditioned to deny blessings, practice receiving. Say yes to small help, accept a compliment, take a small gift. Each accepted gift retrains the system to expect abundance rather than scarcity. 12th, practice internal witnessing. Observe patterns without judgment. The witness mode weakens automatic reactivity and gives the executive functions a chance to choose differently. You don't have to fix immediately. First, simply notice. 13th, set non-negotiable micro-habits. Change is less about passion and more about repeated small acts. Choose 2 tiny habits you can keep even when you feel low. This consistency teaches your system that new behavior is safe and routine. 14th, use binary rituals to reset. At the start or end of day, do a clear physical action to mark transition, open a window, change clothing, light a candle. These signals tell the brain, we are in a new mode now. 15th, allow grief for what you're leaving. The brain mourns loss of identity even when the old identity was painful. Give yourself permission to grieve the familiar. Mourning softens resistance and frees energy for new patterns. 16th, practice compassionate boundary setting. As you change, some relationships resist. Boundaries that protect your emerging identity are not cruelty, they are fidelity to your future self. Say no to what pulls you backward. 17th, experiment with time perspective. Spend a minute daily imagining a realistic next step 1 year from now, small, sensory, specific. This increases the brain's sense of probability for that future and reduces the dominance of past scripts. 18th, cultivate an inner anchor phrase. A short sentence you can repeat when fear arises, something like, I am allowed to grow slowly. Anchors redirect the body from panic to presence. Repetition trains the system. 19th, map your resistance. When you hit a block, ask, is this fear about identity, safety, belonging, or meaning? Naming the category helps you choose the right strategy, ritual, boundary, social change, or meaning work. 20th, celebrate micro-victories. The brain needs reinforcement. When you take a small brave step, celebrate it. Not theatrically, gently, so the nervous system records, change leads to reward, not punishment. 21st, slow integration work. Rewiring is not only new behavior, it's integration of memory, body, and story. Therapy, journaling, somatic practices, or trusted mentorship accelerate this integration by giving structure to change. 22nd, be patient with paradox. You can grieve and rejoice simultaneously. Your past and future can coexist during the transition. Holding paradox reduces urgency and allows depth. Change rarely looks like neat progress. 23rd, use curiosity as a tool. When you notice self-sabotage, approach with curiosity. What does this part want? Curiosity softens defensiveness and invites cooperation from parts that once felt like enemies. 24th, practice embodied presence. Ground in your body, feel your feet, your breath, your weight. Presence is the only place the nervous system can feel safe enough to accept a new possibility. 25th, rehearse future social scenarios. If public success triggers fear, practice a short version of being visible, read a paragraph aloud to a friend, make a brief video, attend a micro-event. Visibility becomes less threatening by repetition. 26th, test your timeline beliefs. Write down the 3 stories your past tells about you. Now rewrite each into a present tense line that empowers small action, from "I always fail" to "I learn and try again." These rewrites train narrative habit. 27th, track energy, not just outcomes. Celebrate days when your energy aligns with your future, even if external change is small. Energy is the leading indicator of deep change, outcomes follow. 28th, practice radical honesty with yourself, gently. Name the compromises you made to survive. When you see them clearly, you can choose which to keep and which to shed. Honesty with warmth accelerates transformation. 29th, use imaginative rehearsal with risk calibration. Imagine the worst plausible outcome, then plan a manageable response. Reducing catastrophic imagination lowers the brain's threat response and increases willingness to act. 30th, create environmental cues for your future. Rearranging your physical space to reflect the person you want to be, cleaner desk, meaningful objects, fewer distractions, sends constant signals that a new life is normal. 31st, reparent your inner child. Offer the safety and steadiness you needed then. When the inner child feels supported, the protector parts relax. This makes novelty feel less like betrayal and more like growth. 32nd, practice selective exposure to media. What you feed your mind alters probability maps. Curate feeds that model the future you want, stories, people, ideas, so your subconscious can find trustworthy templates. 33rd, keep short commitment windows. Commit to new behavior for 1 week, then reassess. Short windows reduce dread and increase the likelihood you'll begin. Consistency over time rewires the system more than grand declarations. 34th, practice congruence. When your actions, words, and internal imagery align, even in small ways, the nervous system begins to trust the change. Congruence is the scaffolding of a new identity. 35th, accept the cost of change. Every change requires saying no to something. Decide what you're willing to lose and what you aim to gain. Choosing consciously dissolves passive repetition. 36th, cultivate a future ritual of gratitude. Gratitude anchored in imagined future outcomes trains your brain to feel reward before external validation, increasing motivation and reducing threat. 37th, enlist external accountability that feels supportive, not shaming. A partner, coach, or peer can help maintain momentum while keeping the nervous system from collapsing into old comfort. 38th, revisit your past victories. Remind yourself of times you rewired before, small shifts that felt impossible then. Memory of past adaptation proves you can change and gives the nervous system evidence to trust. 39th, practice compassionate curiosity toward setbacks. If you relapse into old patterns, ask, what triggered this? Treat it like a data point, not a verdict. Curiosity opens repair pathways rather than blame loops. 40th, Create a short future manifesto. One paragraph describing who you are becoming, in sensory terms. Read it each morning. The manifesto is a contract with your nervous system, a tiny predictable ritual that supports novelty. 41st, remember, safety is the gateway to possibility. Keep asking, does this make my nervous system feel safer or more threatened? Use that as a practical test for new steps. Small steps that feel safe compound over time. 42nd, the work is both ordinary and profound. It's about tiny consistent acts, honest reflection, ceremony, and kind boundaries. Big shifts happen not from a single epiphany, but from repeated, safe rehearsals. 43rd, your reality doesn't change because you haven't yet taught your nervous system to trust the future. Teach it gently, through ritual, safe exposure, recalibrated meaning, and compassionate practice. When your system believes the future is safer than the past, life rearranges itself.